I
Kimberly
was
was a
the
shot
best
putter.
shot putter. Yes. So she really shouldn't have messed with me. I have a strange upper body strength, but not a lot. Back in that day, I did, and I obviously hurt her, and everyone crowded around. And I don't even think she could punch me back. And she went on her way, and she never bugged me again.
She didn't heed the deltoids, the massive deltoids there? Wow.
No, she didn't.
This dumb bitch. Well, she paid.
Put your weight on it. 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 Put your weight on it.
Two white dudes, one black chick. Your reverse Oreo of cinematic pontification. The pretentious movie snobs.
And we're back.
We're going to put our weight on this.
We are going to put our weight on this motherfucker. Look at that. The first sentence I already
wow.
I put a parental
First
advisory in the first 5 seconds of this show. Awesome.
Okay,
That's
so
what I
I'm
do.
glad you changed it to say first 5 seconds, because you said first sentence. Mine was the first complete sentence, and, I'm already insecure enough.
And that was
You're,
Kent of
editing me out
Exploded
of the
Goat.
cast.
That
Hi,
is Kent of
Kimberly
ExplodedGoat.com. And
Hello.
Kimberly, and this is this other lady over here, other lady, as if Kent is a lady.
Oh.
Kent is
No,
ExplodedGoat.com, and
I haven't even
Kimberly-
scheduled the operation yet.
Kimberly
Yet?
Blagrove of the Nappy Wanderer blog, Wandering Nappily and Napping Wondrously. And I, as usual, sadly, am Dave Smith, the microscopically successful screenwriter and blogger. Very occasional blogger. I'm really, the ship is sinking. The ship is sinking on the blogging. Wow.
Can you say that 7 times
I've only
fast?
I don't know
3
if you've
sips
had
of-
too much bourbon or haven't had enough.
Probably the latter. I've only had like 3 sips of this stuff. So.
Oh, imbibe. And so, has anything...
Imbibe,
Hello,
I think,
hello
is the
everyone
right...
out there.
Hello, everyone
We're
in
the
listener
pretentious
land.
movies.
I know we've got a couple of listeners out there for sure.
I like that.
Kent's
Armand.
mother.
Hi, Armand Satyan. I know he was listening.
Oh, cool.
And hi, Lorraine. You guys should have a party, a listener party, and you guys can get together and talk about how you like our show or don't like it. Anyway,
Print up T-shirts. You'll have to buy them, but still, we'll print them up.
yeah, you'll have to pay
Sure.
for them because we're too. No. Anyway, so it's Oscar night, and we all watched the Oscars, or some of us did. Kimberly did not, but she is aware of some of the winners, and we can do a quick thumbnail sketch of the show.
Right.
I didn't really see all of it either. I was out, had my taxes done today. Real exciting. We drove up to LA to do that, so got back late, so didn't watch all of it, but saw enough. Seth MacFarlane seemed kind of the host, of course. Seth MacFarlane of
I was
Family Guy
curious.
fame. He was
it
amusing.
was it
It
good?
was decent.
Yeah?
It wasn't uproarious. It wasn't terrible. He didn't bomb.
No,
So
it didn't bomb.
That's.
So that's good.
Oh, that's good.
I'm gonna,
But I think the first thing we need to point out is that Kimmy and I have been right all along, and Argo won for Best Picture.
yes, you guys predicted Argo. I was saying Lincoln, and then I changed my vote because I looked at InTrade, and it agreed with you guys, so I threw my support to Argo.
Okay, flip-flop.
And Argo won Best Picture indeed, but Ben Affleck, I believe, did not get the Best Director nod. Who did win Best Director? I didn't see that.
Ang Lee.
Very good.
And
Okay.
that
for
was
Life
my
of Pi.
guess, Life of Pi. And I think that was a
Very
good
good.
choice.
All right, so we had Ang Lee winning Best Director. Best Picture was Argo, of
Argo,
course,
we
and
did.
Best Adele won for Skyfall song that I can never remember the tune to. It's a little overly complicated, but cool, but not one that I'm going to be singing. I can't. Really
I don't think I've
remember
even heard it.
It's good, but I can't remember the tune very well. I can't sing it. It's kind of odd. Shirley Bassey also showed up and sang Goldfinger.
Oh, that's
That was kind of
impressive.
cool. She's in her 110s or something like that. So that was really good to see her roll out. Another person who's old that they brought out on stage is Christopher Plummer. Came
I
on
love
to introduce.
Christopher Plummer.
He looked like he was wearing Ian McKellen's nose from the Lord of the Rings movies. And then
Yes,
it
I
had
was going
gone
to say
off
that
a
as
little.
well. His nose looked like it was gangrenous or something. But when he was sitting in the audience later, he looked fine. So it was something weird with the lighting in there. You're not doing a 90-year-old man any favors with HD and bad lighting on stage because he didn't look
maybe
that.
he
He
just-
looked great. He walked
Maybe he
out
just
like
popped on a stage nose.
yeah. He walked out like a spry. He didn't look a day over 81 when he was walking out. And he's like really old, but he looked great. He was good. But yeah, that black nose was kind of odd, but. It was a trick of the lighting because I saw him later, and I saw him at the after party, and his nose looked fine. Anyway,
I think a lot of the
Taking a sip.
winners were pretty much predictable. Like I had guessed
Right.
Anne Hathaway, and I think she did win that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
She did.
Jennifer Lawrence, I didn't think she should get it. Not that she didn't do a great job, but you guys were saying she won.
Yes, yeah. Jennifer
Yes,
Lawrence
yes,
won
she
for
did.
Best Actress.
She did look very surprised that she won, and she was cute, and she tripped coming up the stairs. So she was very cute.
Yeah, I just think she's so young. But no, I mean, no, she did a good job. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino
and-
won for Best Writer.
Who won?
He did. Oh, I
Quentin
didn't see
Tarantino
that part.
for
Great.
Best Writer
Oh.
for Screenplay written directly for screen, and Chris Terrio won for Argo.
Beautiful. And
for,
what about
adapted screenplay?
Best actor? I guess that, of course, went to Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
Of course,
Best
it
And
did.
he said
Grip
something very funny
went
that I missed
to-
too. That I don't know. But anyway, there you have it. We're not exactly all that interested in the Oscars so much. I mean, they're fun, but we always gloss over them really quickly because
We're gonna call this our Oscar episode, though, so if we can glean in anyone who's actually interested in talking about it several days
Yeah.
after it's already happened.
And we're done
Yeah.
with Oscars. Just to pull them
And
in
we're
just
done.
enough.
Yeah. And we weren't nominated for anything, were we? I don't think we are. So we are we get nominated for a potty.
We're unappreciated
For
in our
this
time.
this podcast was nominated for a potty award.
The potty, I like that.
Potty, yeah.
And speaking of news, one movie, we're going to speak very briefly about the Razzies. I'm kind of interested. There is one movie that seems to have been nominated for quite a few, and that is Cloud Atlas. Have any of you guys seen Cloud Atlas?
By the way, the
at all?
Razzies. Can we say what the Razzies is for the folks out there who may not know?
Well, it's the
I don't think this is a
Razzies is short
podcast
for the
for those
Raspberry
people.
Awards. Pardon me?
It's basically. I was being a snot. It's basically a anti-Oscars and award show for the worst movies of the year.
Yeah.
Right. Raspberries, Razzies. So yes. So continue, Kimmy.
Thank you.
Cloud
So for
Atlas. Okay.
Cloud Atlas, it was nominated quite a few times. But let's start with Worst Picture. They had Battleship, the Oogie Loves in Big Balloon Adventure. I don't know what that is. But That's My Boy, which is, again, any new current Adam Sandler movie. You know, they do get that. 1,000 Words, I think that was the one with Eddie Murphy. That's My Boy, again, was for Worst Director. But Worst Director was also, I guess it's John Putch for Atlas Shrugged Part 2. And Worst Actress was Tyler Perry, Medea's Witness Protection, which is kind of entertaining. Katherine Heigl, Kristen Stewart, some other people. Nick Cage for Worst Actor, Eddie Murphy, Robert Pattinson, Tyler Perry, and Alex Cross. But I'm just curious about Atlas Shrugged. It seems to have gotten mixed reviews, and I wanted to know if you guys had watched it.
Atlas Shrugged Part 2. I've seen both of them. I am an Ayn Rand fan.
I haven't seen any of it.
I did not like Atlas Shrugged, the first one. It was a little too goofy, a little too rushed, a little too overly serious, and just kind of clunky and wall-to-wall bad music and just real clunky, very TV-ish from the 70s directing. TV directing is good now, but it was TV movie from the 70s, just weird, clunky. But I did like the second one a little better. I thought it kind of shrugged off those bad things from that the first one had, and it was a little more fun, a little more light, and not so dang serious. And maybe the dialogue was a little more. Ayn Rand does not write good dialogue. You cannot adapt her. You have to adapt her dialogue, I should say.
Well, her
She
people
is
don't
very
talk
dry.
like people.
Exactly, her people aren't people; they're ideas, and. But they are very interesting ideas, and if you can pull out the one paragraph out of the 8-page monologues or even hour-long monologues, you can get really interesting stuff in there. And they tried a little too hard to cram. In the first one, they tried a little too hard to cram basically a gigantic book into a three-part movie that's only 90 minutes. I mean, this really should be a 12-hour movie. It should be 3 4-hour movies, but they were doing 3 90-minute movies. A little tough, and they're not that skilled to do that, I don't think. But second one, a little better. I don't think it does not belong in the Razzie category. So fuck all y'all who put that in the Razzie category.
Well, I'm going to be a jerk here, and at the risk of crapping on this entire segment, I think the Razzies feel a little like a relic to me. Just look at this. The internet exists to heap scorn upon everything that exists. And the Razzies seemed to kind of like a pre-internet thing where you needed some sort of authoritative body to say, hey, here's something really awful we all need to point out. But that's what the internet does with everything. They even do it with everything that's good. You can find all over the place people telling you that Dark Knight Rises was terrible, that any new interesting thing that was anticipated ahead of time is overrated if it's any good. I just don't see... I'm just looking at the things that were nominated for the Razzies, and it's like, no, I don't need to be told this is terrible. I know that's terrible. I knew it from the trailer.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you think the Razzies have just not needed anymore?
Yeah, I don't see the point.
Yeah.
Interesting. I also want to comment on something, speaking of movies.
Nope.
Oh, it's not. That's not. It wasn't even a question.
No, not here.
It wasn't even a question, my friend.
This is not really the forum for commenting on things.
Huh? No, I want to comment on movies in general because, as I was saying to you guys, I've been watching some of Lincoln, which was a Steven Spielberg movie, and we are going to speak about Duel, and it's just so interesting. Duel was a nice compact film, and I'm not going to talk about it right now. It was an hour and a half long, and I think Lincoln was 2.5 hours long. And it just seems to me that lately, and this has been going on for some time now, that they can't get movies anymore completed in an hour and a half. And I want to know why. Yeah. Why do they have to be now 2.5 hours, 3 hours long? Why can't they get it more concise?
That puzzles me, too. Today I had intended to watch the movie Real Steel. Because it was based on a Richard Matheson story, kind of.
With Hugh Jackman, right?
Yeah, with Hugh Jackman.
Right.
And I was about 45 minutes into it, realized that it was just over the top, but with robots fighting. If our audience is familiar, Over the Top is a classic Sylvester Stallone movie where he plays an absentee father who's also an arm wrestling champion. It's a Golden Globus movie. Golden Globus make magical movies. They're also responsible for one of Kimmy's very favorite movies.
The Apple?
The Apple.
They did The Apple, too.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
So,
but that's
Over
not
the Top.
TV.
But Real Steel, which is just Over the Top. Over the Top is a 85-minute movie. Real Steel is, I think, 2 hours and 7 minutes long. There's no justification in the world for this thing to take that long. So I'm just commiserating and amplifying here with you, Kimmy.
Might I say that, Kimmy, you're in good company because Hitchcock was once quoted as saying that no movie should be longer than the capacity of the human bladder. And 207 is pushing it even,
A couple of minutes for some, that means... Is that what you're saying? Maybe no movie should be a half hour long for some people?
Like me, because of my prostate these days, is that what you're getting at?
I'm just saying, just hinting.
Yeah, well. But, I blame Dances with Wolves. Movies were getting shorter for a long time, and then Dances with Wolves comes out, it clocks in at 3.5 or something, and it wins Best Picture, and then Hollywood goes, people like long movies. It's like,
they've got to just switch
and you have to say,
trend.
no, people just like good movies. Dances with Wolves was, barring Mary McDonald's hilarious Farrah hair in the movie. She's supposed to be a Sioux Indian, and she's got this Farrah Fawcett hairdo. Absolutely awful, but and she's good, but the movie is fun. It's a great movie. I like it a lot. But anyway, but they think, people like 4-hour movies now. Let's start making those, and they start churning out shitty 4-hour movies, and they get confused. They're like, wait a minute, you like long movies. They get all upset. But anyway.
I'm generally of the opinion, if I can jump in here, that every minute you go over 90 minutes requires a concurrent increase in quality. Your movie has to get better if it's going to be longer. The gold standard, of course, is Seven Samurai. That movie's nearly 4 hours long, but it needs every single minute it has, and it gets better and better as it goes on.
Agreed.
Transformers 3 Dark of the Moon side thingy does not. And that thing's like 2.5 hours long. It's just
How long was it?
It's I don't know, I killed myself halfway through.
It's exactly too long. You thought I was going to say 2 hours and something, didn't you?
Yeah, you got us.
I fell for that.
That was funny.
Oh dear.
Wikipedia is telling me it's 154 minutes.
That's too long.
That's like Godfather length.
Mm-hmm.
And Transformers is each less good than Godfather.
Each less good. Okay.
So if you're not adapting a beloved book, or you really just have
you're not a
story that's got the gravitas of a Lincoln. Although Lincoln could have been done in 2 hours easy. They just picked a portion of his life. They didn't have to, epicize it like they did. But other than that, like I tell the screenwriters, young screenwriters coming up, don't write screenplays, write novels. And if you're in Hollywood, guys, just try not to make them 2.5. Come on, please, really. Mm-hmm. Anyway, okay, so Kimberly has spoken.
Even Citizen Kane was a hair under 2 hours long.
Yeah.
That was long for that time period as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Actually, it was, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so before we get into our main movie watch, we ask every week, what did you watch this week? So, Dave, did you watch anything interesting this week? See any movies?
No, actually, I didn't. I did not watch anything interesting. I did surf a little bit. I did. So I can talk about my surfing experience, and I surfed on the Netflix. No, come on now. I'm afraid of sharks. Ever since Jaws, I saw it as a kid, and I still hate going into the ocean because
I should have asked you last time.
Another Steven Spielberg.
Another Steven Spielberg movie. He's probably the most influential filmmaker on my life, I would think, between E.T. and Raiders of the Lost Ark and Jaws and so many other great ones.
I keep forgetting he did Raiders.
Yeah. That was a very I loved that one as a kid. But yeah, can't go in the water, Kent. But I surfed on the interweb, as the kids say, and I took a peek at an old Australian movie that I never knew about, called, I think it's called Castle, or The Castle. Very early appearance of Eric Bana.
Wow.
Who I still don't understand his success a little. I mean, he's fine, but I don't not on the bandwagon. I just thought of that. Sorry, maybe I'll edit that out. I'm not on the bandwagon. He's okay. I have nothing against him, but I'm a little puzzled by his success of late. But he plays a small part. Cute movie. I'll probably finish watching it. I started it. It's an Australian film, and it's very cute. Centers on a family. The patriarch of the family is the Australia. The government's trying to buy out his property because they want to expand the airport that he lives right next to, and it's him, trying to keep his house. And he's a sweet guy. He looks upon everything in life as such a wondrous thing. Like the wife brings out meatloaf, and he's like, "Oh, this is amazing. What do you call this, honey?" She'll say meatloaf, and he's all, "Yeah, but what did you put on it?" He's like, "Seasoning." He's like, seasoning. I mean, everything to him, this guy is fantastic, and he's a very likable character. So probably finish watching that. And then on the flip side, I started watching some of Lars von Trier's Antichrist. Holy shit! Anybody see this one?
Mm-mm.
I've heard it's not very funny.
Oh, I think there's not even a half of a guffaw in this movie at all. It's just one of the most horrific things you'll ever see. There's torture, there's self-mutilation. It opens with a kid falling to his death while his parents are having sex. Enough said.
Wow.
Brutally awful, horrible movie. I just skimmed through. Just whenever I see something disturbing, I would stop and look at what it was. And I don't know. If you're a parent, I don't think you should watch this movie. But anyway, that was my surfing experience. But I'll probably finish The Castle, but I think I'm going to stay away from Antichrist.
All right.
How about you, Kimmy? Did you see anything this week?
I did not. I never even knew the expression surfing as a term for. I mean, channel surfing, yes, but movie surfing.
Yeah, it went from channel surfing to surfing the web. So
yeah,
it's evolving.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm out of touch, I guess. But no, I saw Duel.
You're also black. Do black Canadians surf much?
No, they don't.
Okay,
no.
I don't think they're allowed.
Do they ski or swim and other stuff?
You think black people would might as well ski? I mean, very athletic guys out there, and in an avalanche, you're very easy to spot. Like me, I get buried by snow. It's like, see you later.
Yeah. All right, so we're doing the black jokes tonight. Okay.
Come for the thoughtful critique. Stay for the racially charged hostility.
There you go. It was going to come sooner or later. I know that. But moving on from that, I saw bits of Lincoln. And of course, Daniel Day-Lewis did a phenomenal job. He's a great actor. I have not seen enough of it. I did find that the beginning was a little long-winded, but I'll still get through it. I think he did a great job from what I saw. I'll finish that.
Excellent.
You'll finish that one. So we started watching movies, but we didn't finish.
We've started watching movies.
I bet
and
Kent watched the whole movie.
Obscure movie did you see, Mr.
I watched.
Kent
Well,
Conrad?
I watched a few movies, and I watched for the first time.
Hold on, I forgot to ask. Hey, I forgot to ask Kent if he went outside this week. That's becoming a theme on the show.
I did. I took a walk twice this week around the block. I timed it. I checked outside to make sure no one was out there first, and I walked to a place where I can see from behind the house, and so I can check that path too to make sure no one. I won't meet anyone along the way. But yeah, I got out twice.
Good.
The sun
Don't
touched the
too
skin.
much. We like
I got
you
natural
pasty.
vitamin D.
We like you pasty. Just keep it to a minimum, please.
And I go from this fish belly color I am to district melanoma all over the place. So I stay out of the sun as much as possible. Just as the hero of the movie that I watched has to stay out of the light, and that's Darkman. That was Sam Raimi's first relatively big budget movie. It starred Liam Neeson and Frances McDormand.
Wow.
But it was kind of like a cross between a Universal horror movie from the 30s and a comic book adaptation, but more like the movie's an actual comic book. It's his really bizarre angles. It's really over exaggerated. It's a lot of fun, and that's a movie I feel like has been lost. You don't hear people. There aren't Darkman conventions. People don't go out on the streets with their "Who is Darkman" T-shirts anymore, and I think it's a tragedy because it's a really good movie.
You should
I
bring back
remember,
comic book
Darkman.
movie.
I do remember when it came out. I saw it in the theater, and I enjoyed it. But yeah, you're right. It kind of just went away after a couple of years.
And I saw one thing about watching it now that wouldn't have stood out when it was new, but was really remarkable is near the end there's a scene where Darkman is dangling from a helicopter. It's flying through L.A., and it's a real stuntman on a real helicopter hanging. It's a guy, and it's the most astonishing thing. Where if you saw it in a movie today, everything would be CGI. There'd be a fake dude whose physics don't work, but this is a real guy there. I was like, oh my god, this is like watching a Buster Keaton movie. You're thinking, how do they do that?
Yeah. Well, Tom Cruise would have done it. Wink, wink.
Well,
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard I haven't seen the new Mission Impossible, but I've heard that a lot of there's a lot of practical effect work in there too.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the best thing I saw this week.
What
The
was
best
the
thing I
best?
saw this week was an amazing movie from the early 90s starring a pop phenomenon who coincidentally was nominated for a Razzie this year. And that's Vanilla Ice's Cool as Ice.
Oh.
Cool as Ice, yes.
Yeah. How was it?
Cool as Ice I don't think it's the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's in the running. It's directed kind of like a mixture of a sort of a music video sort of editing and just some weird not autistic.
Autistic.
It doesn't make any human sense. I guess it's kind of an adaptation of Rebel Without a Cause because Vanilla Ice comes to town where all the squares have their minds blown by his awesome styles,
his fancy haircut and leather jacket.
His vanilla iciness?
Basically, his fancy and the thing, and I'll admit I got it from the site rifftracks.com. So it came with a comedy track on it. It's a commentary that people making fun of the movie.
Okay,
I like that stuff. But they pointed out, and I didn't know this, that the film was shot by Janusz Kaminski.
Who's that?
Janusz Kaminski is Spielberg's cinematographer now. He shot Schindler's List. He shot Lincoln.
And he did
his
Cool as Ice.
But one of his first movies is Cool as Ice.
That's wonderful.
It's in everyone's because it's oh man.
I'll say in his defense, he has a horrible drug problem and he has child porn problems with the police. So he was probably trying to work off a community service. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea if any of that's true.
It's kind of remarkable.
It's probably
actually,
not true.
There's 2 years between shooting Cool as Ice and shooting Schindler's List. That's
2 years?
Yeah, 91 to 93. That's remarkable.
Well, I know
Janusz.
Spielberg was at a screening of Cool as Ice, and he shot up out of his chair. Get me Janusz Kaminski. once he saw the genius, the majesty of Vanilla Ice. Kimberly, did we not show Vanilla? Did we not show that one at one of our So Bad It's Good SBIG screenings? I seem to remember us maybe showing it, or at least watching it.
I remember we watched portions of it. I do remember. I don't remember when. But
I think we screened it as a candidate.
We might have, and I think I think you're right, and I think we should bring it back because I think it was quite memorable.
Yeah.
Even though I don't remember most of it.
It's an amazing
movie. So bad it's good movies. Kids out there, some movies are so bad they are good, but you can't. It's a fine line they're walking there because the movie has to really. The filmmakers can't really know that they're making a bad movie. They have to kind of think that they're making a statement or they're really passionate about something that they want. They want to tell the story, and it has to just miss the mark so nauseatingly bad that it becomes funny. So,
but that's speaking of, I was a friend of mine just referred me to another SBIG movie called The Ghastly Love of Johnny X. I don't know if you guys have heard of that yet, but I'm going to have to give it a watch, and then I'll let you know about it.
That sounds like something. I don't know. I don't trust that title. That sounds like something trying to be bad.
It does. It almost does. Like the Trauma people, the Toxic Avenger. They know they're making shitty movies,
and it ruins the whole thing. It's And I was worried. This is one of the sort of worries I have. It's one of those first world problems sort of things that the phenomenon of the really terrible movie was going to die out. Because even the really mediocre movies that were coming out in the 90s had decent production values, by and large. And then when digital cinema started becoming a thing, as the kids say now, the attempts were so earnest or generally just rip-offs of things that had already been done, and there was nothing interesting about it. But there are still real terrible movies being released. I've been pretty heartened to see some more recent things like The Room. That's about a decade old now.
That's a classic bad
or
movie,
Birdemic,
though.
If any of you have seen Birdemic, Shock and Terror. Yeah, the first 45 minutes is about stock options, and the rest is a rip-off of The Birds.
Nice.
It's brilliant. It's wonderful. Brilliantly done.
Speaking of The Birds,
so
if we are going to start talking about Duel,
we better
which we should... That.
Man, we're boring.
Pardon me?
I'm sorry. I'm manic depressive. I just went down.
Oh, just lift it back up. Come on.
Okay, because Birds and Duel. How segue.
This is why I'm calling it a segue. There were many scenes in Duel, and we should properly introduce it. That reminded me of Hitchcock, as if it was a tribute to him, to some degree. Or you could see Hitchcock's influence in some of the scenes.
So what are we talking about?
Oh yes.
Do we need to shine the light of the synopsizer onto the clouds so the synopsizer, no matter what he's doing, he'll see it? That we need a movie synopsized and he'll come running and synopsize the movie for us.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah. What is the synopsizer?
Okay.
What is the symbol of a synopsis? Anyway,
Duel is
you get the point.
Duel is a TV movie directed by Steven Spielberg, the first feature-length thing that he directed. It wasn't the very first thing he directed. He directed a couple episodes of Night Gallery before that. But Duel was his first feature film, written by Richard Matheson, who is responsible for dozens of episodes of The Twilight Zone. He's written hundreds of short stories. Even if you don't know it, you've seen stuff, stuff that he's written, or you've seen stuff that based on what he's written. And so Duel is about a man who gets in kind of a road rage incident with a truck, and the truck won't leave him alone. It follows him everywhere he goes. It tries to run him off the road. He gets away from it, and then it's waiting for him later. Duel is Jaws with trucks.
1971, people. Yeah. 1971.
Yeah, boys, you guys were long. You weren't even an itch in your daddy's pants when that one was gracing the airwaves.
I was 8 years from existing.
I was around. I remember seeing the ads for it, strangely enough. I think probably not the first one. Probably it's like some reruns or something. But I do remember it being, it was coming out. I remember Dennis Weaver and the things. So, but I was a wee lad when that came out. Should I start? I actually wanted to start the ball rolling, talking about Duel.
Excellent.
And I wanted to. Well, I haven't seen it really. I don't think I've ever really watched it all the way through. Certainly have not seen it as an adult. And when I sat down to watch it, I was expecting something totally different. And what I got, I was actually super shocked at how bitchin' it was. And mostly because of the subtext going on. And it really spoke to me as a dude. And I know Kent too. So I wanted to see Kimberly. I wanted to ask Kimberly if the movie spoke to her in any way other than being a suspenseful action thing.
Well, first thing I thought that Dennis Weaver was a pussy. because he was driving at 40, even though he says he was driving at like 70, but he wasn't, and then tried to overtake that big old truck and then went back down to 40. So I feel he had it coming to him, to be perfectly honest. That's my first, but not glossing over it. Yeah, there was definite subtext there for me personally. Goodness, I thought it was well done. As I'd said to you before, I thought there was definitely some influence from Hitchcock. Just some of the angles, some of the music, some of the close-ups. Obviously, Dennis Weaver's character is going through issues. I mean, they pointed that he was having issues with his wife. He had this pressure because he had fought in the war. It wasn't for me, that's an amazing movie, but it did hold my interest. And I thought it was interesting how these machines, or the truck itself, had taken on this persona. And I thought that Steven Spielberg did a great job, just paying attention to the little details as he did.
Did you like his cameo, by the way? His unintentional cameo? Did you see?
No.
There's a scene where Dennis Weaver is talking in a phone booth, and I swear to God, reflection of this goofy-looking, long-haired, bespectacled Jewish-looking guy standing there looking at the scene, like, oh my God, I think that's Spielberg. And there actually is. If you look on the internet, there are some stills of it. People saying, I think this is Spielberg. It's really funny. So do a little Google image search on that.
There was one scene that made me laugh, where the woman said, I think he was stopping for to use the payphone, and she's like, when you get a chance, take a look at my snakes. And then Dennis Weaver is like, oh, he doesn't comment that there are a whole bunch of snakes in this weird out of the, just random spot, but then comments and says, wow, that's a weird spot for a payphone. And I just thought that was very interesting that he thought that the payphone was in a weird position, but all these snakes was not odd at all.
You've never been in rural California, have you?
It's funny. It is funny,
haven't.
But yeah, that's the phrase that they call hanging a lantern on something. Because if the viewers are going, why is a fucking phone booth out in the middle of the street? The character better say something about it, like acknowledge it. And so that's funny. He's hanging a lantern on it, so that's good.
But it obviously
I forgot
served
that he
a
said
purpose. That. And if he didn't call it out or didn't say anything, then it would have seemed more contrived. So I agree.
Yeah, so it's good that he said that. He hung a lantern on it. Do you want to hear from Kent on this? Should we move on and see what Kent has to say? Okay. What do you think, Kent?
Well,
before I dive in.
Questions. First, just as an aesthetic thing, I loved that it was all set on California roads and California streets. I've driven through many of these most of my life, and I loved seeing them again.
I loved him getting off the 5, hopping on the 14 from the 5. It was great. I used to drive that all the time.
Oh yeah, there's part of my commute heading to. I think went from the. Did he go from the 110 to the 5 first? Then he went to before he went to Palmdale.
Yeah.
It was going from
it
was. That's how I came. That's how I came home from USC Film School every weekend. But it's subtextually, the film is about the crisis of masculinity.
Absolutely. Oh my God!
Hey.
Yeah, I was thinking, but he regained it at the very end.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's about this man who, you can tell from the very beginning, he's a weak man. My stupid mic just moved. He's a weak man. You can see the way he's driving. The first shot of him in the car, he's all cramped up against it. He's listening to the radio. Yeah. The show is a guy talking about how I'm not really the head of my household. My wife is. I wear a house dress at home. The first dialogue interaction, not the first spoken words, but the first interaction is with the guy taking care of his car, and he sprays and said after he asked him, what do you want? You want to change your radio hose? No, you're the boss. Not in my house. Again and again.
Tell that to my wife.
Yeah, reiterated that this is a guy who's lacking in masculinity, and his enemy, his nemesis, is pure masculinity. This giant flammable truck, implacable, impersonal,
embodied in an actual truck with flammable on it, like incendiary. This is like it could blow.
and so one of the scarier it's remarkable for a TV movie. They don't make any TV movies like this now. All TV movies are sci-fi movies. That's terrible. Sci-fi channel movies. Even the major networks don't do TV movies anymore. It's not profitable. But one of the creepiest scenes, because you're placed directly in Dennis Weaver's head. Everything's from his perspective. Even though the movie starts with his car's perspective, personifying him with his Valiant, his Plymouth Valiant. It's Plymouth, right, Dave?
Look at you.
Plymouth Valiant, correct.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Ironically named Plymouth Valiant. Yes, he does not belong in that car.
Because the first shots of all the film are a car's eye view going onto these freeways, identifying the man with the car, but the man doesn't fit in the car. Mm-hmm. And
that's very profound.
So one of the scariest scenes, though, is when he's this wussy white-collar guy in a trucker bar. And nobody's doing anything to him, but he's sure they all are. He's as far as he's concerned, every one of them is the truck driver. Yeah. And so he can only attack them passively. It's a movie, basically, besides being a good suspenseful story, it's a movie about a man relearning how he can become a man.
Yeah, truly is he's a coward.
And I'm going to interject very quickly because also he was having trouble with his job and his work as well.
Yeah, and
so
his wife.
Again, a man, bases his security and his manliness on also being able to provide for his family, being able to hold a job.
That's very
and
good.
I thought it was.
I'm sorry.
Oh no! And very quickly, I thought it was very great at the towards the end, 3/4, where he actually, instead of being the person that's running away, gets out of his car and actually starts walking towards the truck on his own, facing him head on. I thought that was great, and then that the truck kind of backed off. But go ahead.
Dave. I've been talking for a while. Dave, why don't you go?
Oh, you were talking about kind of early on when he walked towards it and then the truck left, right?
Yeah, it backed off.
Right. This movie, so many movies take place in a character's life when they're in a crisis. This guy's in a crisis, and he needs to remember the specific thing that he was having trouble with his wife was that something happened at a party the night before where the wife felt like the so-and-so was practically raping me, and he's like, what do you want me to do, challenge him to a fight? And she was like, well, you should have said something. And more importantly is he knows he should have said something. That's why he's in crisis in this mode. And I'm not totally sure that Richard Matheson, I haven't read the short story, but I'll bet you anything when you read that, it's quite possible that Dennis Weaver imagined the truck. Mm-hmm. There aren't many witnesses to the truck actually attacking him, except that old woman when he runs. He could have imagined her, though. There's a later scene where he pulls over and the truck actually tries to run him over when he's in the phone booth, and the woman is there. That's actually the only scene where someone else sees what it did. But usually it happens just with him in the truck.
Now, Dave, did you see the TV movie version or the theatrical release for this?
I don't know which version I watched.
Was there a scene with a school bus?
Yes,
I saw the school bus.
Okay, because the school
awesome
bus
scene.
That's a terrific scene, and it underlines the whole thing. Not only is this bus threatening him, is the truck threatening him. It's so terrific. I want to go through it. It starts out. He comes to a bus driver is when this. By the way, hey,
let me set this up for you too, because this occurs at a spot in movies and stories generally where we start seeing the impotence of heroes. This is the impotent hero area. So we're going to see the strength of the opponent and the impotency of the hero, and Kent can say how it unfolds. It's brilliant.
Okay, it's really great because there's so many details, and that's what makes it powerful. The details there's a bus driver with a set of kids. The bus is broken down. It's overheated. He flags down Dennis Weaver. Dennis Weaver comes over, but he doesn't want to help. And the second he gets over, the kids crowd his car, and kids sit on it. And while he's trying to talk to the bus driver, he's telling the kids, "Hey, get off the car," and no one's listening to him. Mm-hmm. He doesn't want to help, but the bus driver basically tells him, yes, you're helping. And so he's already emasculated in this scene because he's helping when he doesn't want to. And what the bus driver wants him to do is push his car onto the freeway, onto the road, because he's stuck on the side. And so he gets there, and their cars interlock. And so the Valiant can't perform the job. He's essentially, here I'll get Freudian, and I'm just doing this for fun. Well, he penetrates the bus. He can't perform the task. Mm-hmm. So then he gets the truck arrives,
and also he couldn't do what the truck was doing to him. It was rubbing his bumper, pushing him along.
Yeah.
He was basically trying to do the same thing, same angle even, and his is totally ineffectual. Like nothing's happening. It's even getting hooked up under the bumper. It's just a complete mess.
Then when the truck arrives, he gets his car unhooked, he skedaddles, and then the truck just turns around, and without and even stopping pushes the bus along. It doesn't do what it would have done in a stupid movie that didn't know what it was about, where it would have knocked the bus off to show how evil the truck was. No, the truck is a real man. It says, I can be a jerk, I can be a nice guy, I can be whatever I want. Because I have power and you don't.
And I'm potent. I can help. I was able to help this bus and you could not. And it's ironic that his name is David Mann, too. He's not a man. He is not valiant. It's ironic. But the whole movie is he going to become a man? Is he going to find perhaps what was lost? Did you say he was in the war or something? I might have missed that part.
Did he was in the war, but he had this whole inner monologue going on. And I feel that it was actually the source of his impotence, so to speak, because maybe some things happened there, and he
wasn't too proud of. Maybe he bugged out when he shouldn't have, or something. Okay, I have to watch that part again. I don't know. Excellent.
But it's amazing how it resonates so strongly with you guys. For me, it was a good movie, and I understood that subtext. But for me, it was like, okay, it was good enough. But I guess again, men really can empathize with that because you have so much pressure to be manly men.
Yeah, we're exactly, and it's he was also in effect bullied on the road too. Bullying's a big thing in the news lately. But I thought it's interesting how society. See, this is interesting because this movie was made in the 70s. The 70s. I know Kent and I have talked about this. Kind of the start of the vilifying of masculinity, basically. Rise of feminism and saying, well, things that are masculine are bad, But boys running around with guns, we shouldn't tolerate this. No guns, no fighting, and the playground fights. Who started it? He started it. I don't care who started it. Any boy knows. No, the whole point is who started it. Not you don't say you don't care about who started it. These things they've been percolating in society for a while. It starts back then. This movie was right on top of this shit. And but what does society tell you about bullying, and what do movies teach you about bullying? They have drastically different solutions to bullying. Look at Back to the Future. Remember Back to the Future?
Just edit one of my interruption out, dude. Just edit it out.
I was gonna say Back to the Future. All three movies are about standing up to bullies, really. So yeah, what were you gonna say, Kent?
Yeah.
I was going to say that nowadays, generally, the way that bullying is combated is with attempts to understand, with trying to create some sort of understanding in the bully that what you're doing is wrong. That's not how you should interact with people, and create understanding with the bullied. And what that misses is that bullying is a force of nature, and that's what this movie understands.
And an equal amount of force was needed in order to combat this guy.
These type of heroes in these movies also, I mean, you're given I learned this from the great Lawrence Riggins, my screenwriting teacher and a great writer. But he has a really fantastic paradigm that you can apply to every movie. It goes back to Shakespeare all the way up till now. Before Shakespeare, Greek, they understood this because it's storytelling is just the human condition is so tied with storytelling, obviously, that these things are echoed throughout the ages of this idea that one idea here being characters throughout the movies are stories are they have chances to say yes, I'm going to fight, or no, I'm not going to fight. Most movies, the Act 1 break, which occurs around page 25 to 30, is usually when they didn't even know that there was a villain to fight before. If it's a mythic hero who's like Luke Skywalker, they are confronted with the herald. It's an old term, is the herald of adventure. A character shows up and is a herald. They announce, this is the adventure. Do you want to come? And they always say, fuck no, I don't want to come. I'm living here in Hobbit Town or whatever, or I'm a farm boy on Tatooine. They usually say no. And then usually at the Act 1 point is they reverse and say, yes, I'm going to fight. Now, Dennis Weaver, he's a no, I'm not going to fight, pretty much the entire movie. And even when his meager attempts to fight, or it's like a tantrum, like he knocks, when he has a panic attack inside this bar when he sees the truck parked outside, and one of the men inside the bar he assumes is the driver of the truck, and he has a panic attack. I mean, he does confront that one guy, and he slaps the something out of his hand, like his beer, because he's drinking, but it's
Sandwich.
more of a tantrum, really. And then the guy beats the
sissy
shit
way.
out of him.
He
It's a
fights
sissy.
back like a sissy.
Yeah,
I told you he's a pussy.
He is a
He's
pussy, and he gets his ass beat for it. But he does not. He doesn't fight until the big battle. You always give your hero one last chance. Are you gonna fucking fight, or do we hate you? And he does actually at the end. He does decide. Okay, he actually mans up, and he ends up killing the truck driver.
Actually, though, can I say, I was going to actually say that about that. That the way that they left it was a little ambiguous because the door was open on the truck. So that would have been a perfect opportunity for a sequel because we never really saw the driver get burned.
Yeah, but the driver's not the real monster.
That's
it's the
true.
truck. I love how
it
roars when it falls down.
Yeah, yeah.
But in this day and age, nowadays, they would have made a sequel out of that in a heartbeat.
And this is a problem I find with a lot of movies is that they don't know how to develop their villains. If this were a movie made today, the truck driver would be a member of a group of evil truck drivers that were driving around through the country. There would have been these stupid extra sort of complications. And what this movie does really well is take a very simple setup and wring a really great story out of it without having anything extra, without having to do any sort of background on anything. All of the conflict is right there. It's simple. I think I hate to use this word in a critique, but it's kind of brilliant.
You really do think so, huh?
But yeah, there's a point when, because women obviously when you get if you're getting bullied by some, it's not a thing that women have to deal with as much or would be ashamed if you didn't want to fight somebody. But for dudes, like I was going to say earlier, like societal the societal things we were saying is like, don't, fighting's bad. Well, movies say no, fighting is not bad. You have to fight evil. Any movie where they decide no, fighting is wrong, this is going to be a shitty movie. People still respond to that. You can't, if they would have brought Biff into the counselor's office in Back to the Future with Marty to try to work things, or George McFly to try to work things out, what the fuck kind of movie is that? You always have to get rid of the police in your movies. You have to get rid of any authority figure who can help your hero. Your hero has to do this shit by himself. You can't have Luke Skywalker can't be flanked by 15 guys blowing up TIE fighters behind him, and he just hits the button and shoots the missile into the Death Star and blows it up. No, they all have to die. He's got to be the last guy. He's got to risk his life. He's got to go in. He has to do it himself. And you can't have the police help you. And I don't really... Kent was pretty big. You probably weren't bullied so much at school, were you?
No, not at all.
Yeah, I had very few instances where there's some asshole new kid who maybe didn't like me for some reason, but it only lasted a few days. But I remember thinking, should I like punch the guy in the face? What the fuck should I do? So it really spoke to me.
I'm going to cut in. Yeah, it didn't speak to me that much, but I did have an incident when, surprisingly, when I was younger, I was bigger than the other girls. So for whatever reason, there was one girl that did not like me, and so wanted to fight me. For whatever reason, and I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover, not a fighter. But I had to kind of defend myself. So it was me standing in front of this girl. I remember it clearly. And I think I actually laid one on her. I didn't feel good about it.
Good for you.
Well, we feel good about it now.
Yeah.
No, it's not my nature. But I think they were surprised. And I was the shot put person. I was actually the person that did shot put and always got the best scores. Wow. Yes. So you really...
Wow, the reveals on this show are astonishing. Kent was born with flippers, and or no, some webbed armpits or something, and now Kimberly was a shot putter.
I was the best shot putter. Yes. So she really shouldn't have messed with me. I have a strange upper body strength, but not a lot. Back in that day, I did, and I obviously hurt her, and everyone crowded around. And I don't even think she could punch me back. And she went on her way, and she never bugged me again. She
didn't heed the deltoids, the massive deltoids there? Wow.
No, she didn't.
This dumb bitch. Well, she paid.
Dumbass.
You made her pay. That's great. I love that story.
So the lesson is don't mess with Kimmy, right? Okay.
Yeah, but right. That's good. See, I think that's a story that speaks. If people know Kimmy, you know her, Kimberly, Kimmy, whatever. I like calling her Kimmy.
You can call me Kimmy, not everybody, as well as
okay, good. Yeah, Kimmy. Kimmy. I think Kimmy has a very strong personality and doesn't take any shit from people. That's good. and that's probably formed from I think those formative years, and the fact that she stood up to a bully helps a lot.
I'm a peaceful person. I don't feel that we should fight for it, but if you push comes to shove and you have to defend yourself, then you do what you have to do, such as David Mann's character. And
right. He finally does at the end. And they leave it open-ended. I mean, he's sitting there. The truck has been vanquished. His enemy has been vanquished in his duel. And he's just sitting there in the sunlight. He's got no car, and he's on a fucking road that's a dead end. Like, who knows how he's going to get home. But I think when he gets home, his wife is going to be pleased with the man that comes home. I think he's going to be a different dude. So that's good.
There you go. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think we're closing out here because that
Let's
was
put a
a
nail
good
in
summation. Now, we've been picking movies to watch. We picked this one because Steven Spielberg was nominated for Lincoln. We didn't talk about Spielberg a lot today, but I think the amount that we got out of his movie just demonstrates how even early on he was a real talent.
Yes.
Because I think, and I've even done it, Steven Spielberg gets kicked around a little. He's a little, I don't know, maybe a little saccharine sometimes. But when he was a young and hungry filmmaker, he filmed the hell out of his movies. Ang Lee won for Best Director this year, and which was good, fortuitous, because I had decided that for our last round of Oscar-related movies, we were going to watch an Ang Lee movie, a kind of tender movie about individuals who are kind of ostracized, who are looked down upon because they're different. And
Brokeback Mountain?
No, Hulk.
Oh no!
I think we ought to watch. We're going to be watching a Hulk for next week. Yes, mainly because I'm watching a lot of comic book movies and I want to see it, but I have never seen it. I would like to see how Ang Lee, who's a he's an artsy director. He's directed lots of art. God, artsy is such a stupid thing to say. But anyway, artsy movies. And how did he deal with the blockbusters? The sort of did the blockbuster form? It's not a well-regarded movie, but
is this the
you're right.
Eric
This
Bana
is good.
one?
Yes, Eric Bana. We bring it back to the beginning. Yeah.
We are just you set that up on purpose, didn't you, Mr. Conrad? But I don't actually think that one did very well in the theaters. If I
it didn't do very well in the theaters.
I remember I remember not liking it. So this is going to be good because I'm going to try to figure out why.
I think that'd be interesting if we don't like it to have lots of things to say. But this has been a double dual cast. We've gone nearly an hour here tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope your movies won at the Oscars. I hope